Thank you for watching the next in the series of videos of reflections on the Catechism from the prayer book, continuing through the first section entitled Human Nature. And the second question is, what does it mean to be created in the image of God? And the answer, it means that we are free to make choices, to love, to create, to reason, and to live in harmony with creation and with God. Just to reflect a bit on this language that continues from the Genesis account of the creation of man and woman. And in the first two chapters, it touched on last week, God pays particular attention and calls very good the creation of man and woman, and gives us a unique and privileged position in the creation as the beings who will tend it, have authority in it, responsibility for it, and stewards of all that God has made. We are put in charge of the world to tend it, to reflect God's creation of us in all that we do in it. And so the essence of what God decides to do in the creation of human beings is to give us freedom, free choice, sometimes called free will. God is not interested in robotic obedience or unchosen love and relationship. God could have created beings that had no struggle or temptation or choice about loving and obeying God. It wouldn't be relationship, because relationship implies the presence of choice and desire and ability. And God wants relationship more than God wants mere fidelity and conformity without any kind of capacity to understand the freedom and the desire involved in that. And so we're unique beings then further in the creation, because we have the consciousness to choose for or against our own nature and our own creation. The rest of the creation does not have this capacity. It simply does whatever God chooses and designs for it to do. Thomas Merton, the writer, said that the tree glorifies God by being a tree. And a tree is designed by its nature to grow and flourish and be the kind of tree that it is, unless something impinges on that and it is stifled. And so what we see in the creation is an inherent capacity for the different unique creatures to reflect in their being how God has made them. And they don't have a choice to do otherwise unless they're acted upon by some circumstance or some condition in the environment. But as humans, we are endowed with this wonderful gift, which is called choice. God gives it to us not capriciously or temporarily or conditionally, but God gives it to us utterly, that it is fully ours, and it is inherent in what it means to be human. And we can say sometimes in a defensive or excuse-making mode, I couldn't help it, or it's just how I am, or I don't know any other way, or something that diminishes or downplays our freedom of choice. And in fact, we are often conditioned by families, culture, school, the environment of our social upbringing to reflexively make choices that have been instilled and implanted in us. It doesn't mean that we have no choice, but that the conditioning is very, very deep and will lead us most of the time towards a certain kind of choice in a certain kind of circumstance. But we are still responsible and free agents even in that. And so that God desires for us to know and receive and use our freedom as creatures, not simply to comfortably conform into whatever the environment is around us and do whatever we see happening, whatever people tell us to do. That's a kind of passive acquiescence of freedom. The freedom is the call to be what I'm created to be, which is an awake, conscious, responsible, moral actor about my own choices. And the choices are not mine to do with as I wish. Freedom does not mean that I can be free of consequence, free of effect, free of the results of my choices, free of the harm that I may cause to myself or others. The freedom is for the glory of God. It is designed to be oriented toward and used for my good and flourishing and the good and flourishing of those around me. It has a purpose to reflect the life of God who is free, to help manifest within us the nature of being made in the image of God. And so we are like God in the ways that the answer addresses: to love, create, and reason, live in harmony with creation and with God. We cannot do any of those things if we abdicate our responsibility or merely conform to external expectations. We do all those things when we are choosing them and deciding for them against all other choices that are possible and available to us. And so the shaping of our conscience, the formation of our capacity to live fully in our freedom is a part of Christian discipleship. Is to remember, before we get to the conversation of the fall and of sin, that we are inherently and designed to be and live as flourishing beings in the freedom that God has given us. Sometimes in our own desire to be comfortable or to be safe and secure, to be accepted, we acquiesce our freedom and we give it up. And often the struggle is not that we are prone to choosing the worst possible option given to us and are going to run to some horrific evil and pain all the time in the misuse of our freedom, but that we fall short of embracing its potential and its possibility in all of its wonderful and diverse and exciting gift and possibility. So with that as a reminder and a kind of caution, we'll go to the next question next week, which goes deeper into this idea of what do we do when our freedom is misused and distorted and used not for our benefit and for the benefit of our communities, but in order to compete and dominate and oppress and ignore and mistreat others. And we'll get into the whole world of how we struggle as humans, beginning with the next couple of questions next week. Thank you for watching. Invited to subscribe to get notifications about current and future videos on YouTube by clicking on the subscribe button. Thank you very much. God bless.